Good afternoon. Welcome back to Newton Athletic Park here in sunny Surrey, British Columbia. My name is Shane Pfeiffer. I'm joined here by Habib Atala. Habib, how are we doing today?
Fantastic. We just had a Field 1 game that went to Universe, Quest versus Coda. So, man, tension's all the way up here. We're fired up and ready to go.
It's always nice when the tournament directors pick the right games for the stream, and a Universe game is exactly what we want to see. And it was a really spirited game, too, between Coda and Quest. A lot of positive discussion. Hoping for another spirited game here between these two prairie rivals. We've got RUT from Saskatchewan. They made it clear to us that it is a Saskatchewan team. RUT stands for Regina Ultimate Team, but they have 6 Saskatoon players, formerly with Saskatoon Jam, on their roster this year. And the newly rebranded AFC Beef, of course, AFC standing for Alberta Flatball Club, Beef coming from Calgary, formerly Whiskey Jacks. RUT will be wearing the green jerseys on your stream, while Beef in their new white jerseys with red trim and red shorts. Habib, what are you looking forward to this game?
I'm looking forward to, two teams that obviously know each other and have faced each other in training camps and I believe at Flower Bowl. So they obviously know each other. So knowing that, hey, this is now on a bigger stage, on a showcase field, and ready to bring out the best for each other.
Two teams that do know each other very well. They seem to play each other every year. I know in 2023, last time Nationals was in Surrey. It was RUT against Whiskey Jacks in the 15th place game. For the RUT fans, they'll be happy with the result of that game. Beef will be hoping to avenge that today. I think that would be the last time these two teams played in Surrey. However, this season, Beef leadership let us know that they have won the contests against RUT, but really hard-fought, gritty, close wins each time. So we can expect another close, hard-fought match again here today.
I love also the CUC goal from RUT, which is put Prairie on the maps, right? They want to make a statement in the open division and show, hey, we got game, and take a look at what we can do.
And they've been working on that for the last few years. I can speak to that. I've played with RUT for the last 2 and coached them the year before. And RUT certainly has done a good job of putting Regina on the map and earning the respect of their opponents. RUT pulling on the first point. Beef on offense. Setting up in the vertical stack. That's Chad Wheeler with the catch. Back to Dallin Mohagan. There's a pick called in the stack. Thrower did not recognize as Tyler Hohalter on the swing. The pick in the stack didn't affect the throw, so it'll stay.
For those unfamiliar with hand signals, the 2 hands coming up, right? Biceps coming up, that means a pick has been called on the field.
Disc is back in. Beef still in that vertical stack. Alex Fish. Back to Mohagan. Up the open side, that's Rowan Lang. Into the end zone for Ty Hohalter, and that is an early hold for AFC Beef. Ty Hohalter had 3 points in this morning's game. The stats aren't up yet from the second game of the day, this being both teams' 3rd game of the day, 3rd and final. Our 5th time slot here on Thursday at CUC 2026.
Pretty clean for that 0 point, and shout out to Rowan Lang for throwing that assist there. Ignite alumni, let's go.
Yeah, there's a connection there. Is that right?
Absolutely. I coached him on, I believe it's 2022 was his last CUC as a junior, and so good to see him out here doing his thing with AFC.
Speaking of Ignite, I know it was discussed on the last stream, but congrats again to you for your national championship yesterday.
Oh, thank you so much. A wild game. Absolutely. And props to the Dino program for always pushing us every single year.
And a wild tournament for you, too. I know you had a regional Universe win against Toro as well en route to the final.
That was a huge game. And you know what? I feel like we've had Universe games with Toro all season. And so to come to that last moment was quite special.
It's really something what the Ignite program has been able to do really over the last decade and consistently being among the top teams in nationals. Beef with the pull, RUT on offense. This is Colby White receiving the pull. Dan O'Reilly now with the disc. Beef in a zone. Tasman Millen on the mark. That's Finn Quinnell, rather. The shot from Justice to Riley Martell, caught in the end zone, 1-1.
Beautifully placed huck, and also great read, and knowing exactly when that disc was going to arrive, coming up the highest points, and having that separation on the AFC defender.
That's Justice Paul with the huck for the score. Riley Martell, one of RUT's captains, bringing it down. Justice Paul, one of 6 Saskatoon boys on the RUT squad this year. As we mentioned, normally with Saskatoon Jam, a mixed team.
Seeing that zone look come down from AFC, and immediately RUT finding the hole and going for the over the top. It is a little windy right now, but if you have reliable over the top throws, that is one way to break a zone.
The wind has been picking up throughout the day, and of course, here at Newton Athletic Park is arguably the hottest turf you can play on of any of the major venues in the country, and so it really just, the heat emanates off of the turf. That disc will sail if you're not careful. I do expect to see some big shots from both these teams today.
Absolutely.
RUT pulling from right to left on your screen. A flick pull. Come down with a little bit of a roll. Stopped by Beef. Ty Hohalter. RUT in their patented arrowhead zone. Hohalter with the disc. Swings it to Fish. Lang back to Fish. RUT trying to trap on the sideline. Disc leaks through to Samuel Klein. Hear the fire call from RUT. They'll melt into a person defense here. Fish in the middle for Beef. Jeff Gu on the mark. Near side here. Gavin Lee gets the around. Lang up line. Great catch by Fish to stay in bounds. Travis Kundert with the disc. Ty Hohalter around, continues to break, but it just sails a little too far. This will be RUT's first break chance of the game.
We had RUT come down in a zone look as well, but this time going for a pass count zone. So I think going between, let's say, a team would call 5 passes or 10 passes before melting into a match defense.
RUT with the horizontal offense. And that's Cody Statham going up for the disc. Comes down incomplete on that shot from Matt Gazda. Dallin Mohagan up the open side. Rowan Lang back to Mohagan. Looking around, not finding anything yet. Up the open side, and a bid called out by the observer. A great catch by Rowan Lang, but the observer ruling, observers are calling active line calls.
Looking like Rowan's taking an injury sub here too.
So a great catch from Lang, but out of bounds. And
oh, what an athletic play, but looks like couldn't exactly get the ground contact in bounds once the catch was made. And
he looks like he's all right, walking off under his own power. I've been winded a couple times from a layout like that. Some confusion on who Beef was subbing in for Rowan, but it looks like they've got their man.
yeah, looking like Keith Latondra coming in the game.
RUT electing to change a player as well. Looks like Thomas Pearson coming off and Colby White taking his place. RUT, of course, with another break chance here.
I'm a big fan of teams using that sub, that extra sub that you can just to get fresh legs. It honestly makes a huge difference offensively or defensively.
It does, especially over the course of a tournament, right? You just get that extra little bit of rest. And for RUT here, that's a tactical change. When you have the disc back, you're on offense. You had your D-line on the field to start the point. So Colby White, a little bit more of an offensive player from their O-line. RUT with some good flow, but not finding any cutters. All handler movement right now. Josh Anderson, the throw to Rob Beam. Lee Barber, rather, with the throw over towards Andrew Benson, but it falls incomplete. Tyler Hohalter, open side for Dallin Mohegan. Look to the middle for Fish. Hohalter. Inside for Kundert. Back to Fish. And just out of the reach of Keith Latondra. Matt Gazda with the disc. Andrew Benson, the initiation cutter. Benson likes to shoot it. Beef shuts him down. Anderson to Benson. Through the middle. It was a pick called, but the turnover will stand. And Beef has the disc in the red zone. Lee Barber on the mark. The break goes around, and it's a tough catch, but a catch for Dallin Mohegan. It's a long downwind, dirty hold for Beef, but they'll take it.
Assist to himself there. Little bobble, but makes the catch with composure.
A good break throw to get it past the mark, and then it just kind of gets caught in that wind that's blowing from top left to bottom right on your screen, and RUT had a chance just to take a swing at it, so I think Mohegan might have just taken his eye off it for a second, but able to complete the pass.
You know, I think if you're a RUT right now, you're pretty happy with that point because it was a D point. You had the O-line of AFC having to go out multiple times and having to have multiple opportunities to score, gassing them out, giving them a little bit of mileage on their legs. So if you're a D-line for a RUT, you're pretty happy with this.
And that's something that it takes a while to understand for new players who come into the game. I know I was coaching juniors this week, as were you, and there's times when you're putting a D-line on the field and you're trying to tell them, hey, your goal here is just to make the other team's O-line tired. If you score, that's a bonus. But really, we're just trying to eat some time and buy our O-line some time to rest. And you don't have to put too much pressure on yourself.
Absolutely. As a D-line coach that loves coaching D-line, it's a chess game. It really is.
Shane Markham receiving the pull. Move near side to Grayson Dacus. Dacus to shoot. It's a flick huck to Riley Martell, who gets inside position. And Martell back to Markham, already knocking on the door, and here it is. Andrew Benson on the open side. The hold for RUT. We're tied at 2.
Great read from RUT in that deep space, getting the inside positioning so that you are boxing your player out. You're sealing them with your body to go up for the disc and being able to get out there with 2 hands.
So 2 points for RUT, 2 points for Riley Martell. He's got a goal and an assist. Looks like it'll be John McEwen to pull for RUT, upwind. The Beef O-line returns to the field. Earlier in the day, these teams both played a pair of games each against General Strike and Surf. Strike from Winnipeg, Surf from Victoria. I've actually played in both those programs as well, Habib. I played for Surf, living on Vancouver Island now, and previously living in Winnipeg with Critical Mass in the General Strike program. Played for RUT. Beef here is the only team in the pool that I haven't actually played with.
Not a lot of people could say that.
No, I've moved around. But the marquee matchup earlier in the day, Surf versus Beef, a little bit of surf and turf on the field. Of course, Surf and Strike playing each other now. RUT sets up back in their zone, near side to Dallin Mohegan. Alex Fish. Gavin Lee, back to Fish. RUT trying to close the holes. Mohagan on the break side. Airs out a backhand hook. And again, just reeling it in, Chad Wheeler. We said earlier we were expecting some big shots, especially with the wind at their back, and both teams have delivered.
Yeah, looking like a win game at this point, using your wind to the advantage. If you're going to play in that offense going downwind, you might as well afford to take those shots and put out the space. And worst come to worst, if you're playing defense, you are defending with the wind going with you. So it's always good to see that early on in the game.
Not quite a huck and pin kind of wind today, but definitely something that you want to use to your advantage if you're going in the right direction. And if you're going in the wrong direction, then you need a lot more patience and discipline, making sure that you're looking for the holes and just trying to small ball work it up.
Yeah, we're seeing both teams here elected to go with some zone looks early on in the game, especially to slow down pull plays, apologies, and to slow down a little bit of that match offense from both sides, and looking to give them just little passes versus looking for those big shots.
It's like Rowan Lang with the pole for Beef. Hanging, letting all his teammates get down there to set up. The match defense look for Beef. Colby White with the disc for RUT. And again, another downwind hawk airs out a flick for Riley Martell. Can he get position? He does. Was there contact? Looks like there may have been a call. Travis Price of Beef. I think he might feel like he was pushed in the back. I don't know if you saw what happened there, Habib. I thought Riley Martell might have stumbled, might have lost his footing a little and made some contact with Price.
Yeah, it looked like definitely like there was some tripping, and I think the discussion they're having right now is, whether or not, your contact made me trip, and I couldn't make a defensive play on the disc, and that seems to be a discussion that they're having right now.
Often you'll see players try to indicate, oh, well, it's not my fault. I just got tangled up with you. My feet got tangled in yours. So how is that a foul? But if contact affects the play, then it's worth calling.
Absolutely. And sometimes when both players are fighting for positioning, we normally call that offsetting fouls. Both I'm touching you, you're touching me. We're both kind of fighting for that positioning. So it kind of neutralizes, unless there was one foul or one contact play that definitely impacted the final outcome of the play.
Of course, ultimate being self-officiated, there's room for those conversations, and sometimes the most fair outcome is just a contested call back to thrower and do the play again. All of our stream games with observers, though, we've got Paul Dante and Kuda Mera. Kuda in that conversation, helping Riley and Travis sort out the result of this. There was no indication from the observer that Riley was in the end zone. It sure looks like he's standing there now, but there was never any indication that he was actually in. And the result of the discussion is that it's a turnover. So
observer ruling.
Great spirit from Riley Martell as well to have that conversation and then let go. The Beef with the disc and a break chance upwind. An around look to Rowan Lang. Inside flick to Gavin Lee. Rather, Justin Sia. Sia around to the break side. Brennan Weaver, number 92 in the middle. Colby White on the mark. Another around is Tasman Millen. Up that break line to Price. Back to Lang. Lang to Sia. Back to Lang. To the open side to Millen. And that's an upwind break. The first break of the game for Beef. They take a 4-2 lead.
That's great work from ASC to use both the open and break side. So the full width of the field, they've been throwing the disc back to the middle and then following their pass, trying to make sure that they're changing up the throwing angles and making sure that, hey, if you're playing defense and you're right, we're going to keep making you guess where this disc is if you're covering downfield.
And in a game this windy, Habib, a disadvantage now for RUT with their O-line going upwind. Another break here for Beef downwind would really crack this game open.
Absolutely. You know, you're in a great place if you're AFC, and if you're RUT on offense, you know that the wind is in front of you, and it's you're going against the wind. So your throwing angles have to be a little sharper. There's got to be some spin. There's got to be some more gut shots. If you let the wind see the bottom of that disc, you're going for a sky battle there.
Looks like Turner Spence ready to pull for Beef. Turner Spence, an athlete I coached in Winnipeg about 10 years ago. Good to see him still playing. I know he was a part of the Manitoba program. Manitoba not sending a second team in the open division this year, so Turner finding a new home with AFC Beef. Lee Barber for RUT, round to Matt Gazda. RUT looking for their handler movement. Inside shot to Pearson. That's Armin Segal trying to catch downfield. The upfield Huck not quite getting there. Bit of a low catch. Tough one for him. And now Beef with another break chance.
Looking like the wind pushed that disc down too on the catch. So definitely a hard read to make.
The around from Kundert. And just behind Quinn Lane in the middle. Kind of a gift for RUT in the attacking half of the field, trying to get this upwind hold. Gazda with the disc to Jeff Gu. Gu looking for options, pivoting back to Gazda. A pick called away from the play, so the disc will stay with Gazda. RUT in their vertical stack with a few handlers out. See if Jeff Gu clears here. Disc back in, but not getting any cuts. Gazda's looking around to the break side. It's Cody Statham back to Jeff Gu in the middle. Gu looking open side, not seeing anything. Looking break side, a low break throw. And just too low going upwind for Gazda to reach. Keith Latondra. Up line to Quinn Lane. Upline cut from Latondra. It's off his hands. There's a tight space to try to fit that throw into. And RUT gets the disc back. Lee Barber brings it back up the line to where he thinks it went out. Observer has a beanbag there, so it's not just Barber moving it. It's the observer ruling on where that disc left play. Josh Anderson back to Barber. Looking back to Anderson, and he gets him. Wawa with the break throw. Barber up that break side to Gazda. He looks up to Segal, but he doesn't have it. And now the shot. Josh Anderson, the layout roll in the end zone. Probably a little bit gratuitous, but had to make sure he made that catch. And a celebration in the end zone. Wawa recently moved back to Saskatoon. He spent some time in Kelowna. It's a upwind hold for RUT to get back within one.
I was trying to figure out what that celebration was.
I'm not
like
quite sure. I will ask him after the game. Or maybe we can ask our halftime interviewee. I think we're going to get Armand Segal at halftime.
Questions, yeah.
Let me write that down real quick. What was that celly? And so now with that upwind hold for RUT, they have a chance to do the exact same thing Beef was trying to do last point. Pull downwind and get a break to get back on serve.
Quickly becomes very much a win game, you know, especially if you're the captains, the coaches or players noticing that, hey, there's a clear direction. This is where that kind of chess game comes into play if you're the defense. You know, this is where you say, okay, all we need is one more right now, and we're going to get back into this game.
On the stream this morning, when Clay and I were calling the Hucklebears and Salty game, there was a bit of a lead for Salty, but Hucklebears tried to chip away at it, and we had that same conversation about sometimes a lead can seem daunting, and you just have to go 1 point at a time, right? And right now for RUT, it is really just 1 point, but even if the lead is wider, you have to keep your head in the game and believe that you can go on a run, but make it easy for yourself just by thinking 1 point at a time.
Looking like a split stack look here from AFC.
See if they run the AC. They do. Look for the under, look for the shot. Shot's not there. Back to Hohalter in the middle. That pull being pulled out of bounds by RUT, so taken at the brick. And that's back where Ty Hohalter is. Outside to Dallin Mohagan on the open side. Mohagan looking for Hohalter. Back to Mohagan. Back to Hohalter towards the middle. Looking for the break, not there, but he has Kundert in the middle. Towards the open side, RUT melting. And an easy find in the end zone. Rowan Lang with the assist. And
Very
Beef
throwing.
answers back with an upwind hold of their own.
Great throwing from AFC Beef. You know, there are opportunities for RUT to get their hands in the cookie jar there and maybe even get a block on those quick pop passes. But good job from AFC Beef to maintain that and get those snaps out and stay pretty consistent with the disc.
And a clean hold upwind shows a lot of discipline from a young team. Beef leadership telling us that this is a young group and that their goal here really is to build reps for their young crew with some mentors. You mentioned Keith Latondra there as a Masters player on the Masters national team, but Beef really trying to give these reps to young players with mentorship and make everyone have a good time, right? They talked about having a good time, keep everyone coming out and trying to keep people wanting to play and develop and putting that effort in.
Absolutely, and had the privilege of coaching Keith Latondra on that Masters Open beach team. He led our team in goals. He was a stamina guy out there, but he's a lead by example guy. He's gonna never stop running. He's gonna lead by example with his play, and he's a great voice to have in your huddle for these guys.
Monster pull from Rowan Lang, fielded by Dan O'Reilly. Shane Markham in the middle. RUT dangerously in their own end zone. They managed to get it out here. Andrew Benson, the flick huck upwind, and here's their usual target. It's Riley Martell. He can't quite get there. And here's Latondra playing fast. Millen around for Saya, a great catch. Back to Tasman Millen. Latondra looks back to the break side. Trevor Wolfenden. Scuba over the top into no man's land, but it looks like it's not quite caught, almost caught. Finn Quinnell had a better chance on that than I thought he would. RUT back with the disc. Markham feeds it to Justice Paul. And another turnover. Timeout called by Beef, a veteran move, disc in the attacking half. Trevor Wolfenden calls that timeout knowing that his team has a chance here to create some space between them and the opponent, up 5-3 and a downwind break chance here for Beef.
I like the defensive option on offense that AFC was doing, which is, hey, if there's a turn, we're going to just pick it up and go. You know, we got numbers, we got tempo, we got momentum. And while RUT is scrambling to find their matchups, you know, AFC is just finding the open person and keeping that disc moving.
I love that quick transition type of offense. Sometimes it's hard to get new players, especially, to understand that. And someone will run through a block and then just stop and look and see, okay, now what do we do? And the best advantage that you can have is run through and just keep going and see if you can't transition quickly.
Absolutely. And as the game goes on, this is a good timeout because, you know, you get 2.5. You might as well use one to recompose yourself to make sure that you truly do punch it in and get the break.
A full 4 for this tournament. 2-2.
Yeah, 2-2.
No floaters at CUC 2026. Every team entitled to 2 timeouts per half, irrespective of the cap, which I love. I think you should be able to call a timeout in the cap.
Yep.
That's arguably the time you need it the most.
Absolutely. I'm a big fan as a coach. I love to have one timeout kind of throughout the first, between the first and the sort of last point, and then I love to keep a timeout during soft cap, which we will talk about later on.
Rowan Lang playing D-line and O-line for Beef. He was on that last Beef O-line, and he was the one who pulled that monster for Beef. AFC in the red zone. Tondra back to Wolfenden in the middle. Looking for Millen, not there. Now he is. Beef being very disciplined, looking for these break side shots. A lot of contact near the goal line. Doesn't look like there's a call, though. Confirmed, no call.
Looking like a collision between just the AFCB players.
The observer showing a yellow card. I'm not sure if that's directed towards Shane Markham or if that's directed towards Brennan Weaver. We'll have to connect with Paul Dante in a little bit to see who that card was directed towards. Obviously, he saw something dangerous in that challenge.
Yeah, potentially saw some excessive contact in that play towards getting the frisbee. And if observers feel that way, that there's excessive contact in a game, that is going to be a yellow card.
Throw into the middle for Grayson Dacus, dropped, is just a little bit behind him. And now Beef with another chance. Latondra with the disc. Finds Tasman Millen. Open side for Weaver. Weaver and Latondra give and go into the end zone. Latondra with the assist, Weaver with the goal, and it is 6-3 for Beef.
You could see the two players that were involved in that, I guess, collision, or I guess the contact play, just seeing each other, be like, hey, you good? Hey, just want to know everything all right, checking in on each other. That's great spirit from both teams.
And that respect really there between these two teams. They've talked a lot over the last few years about trying to build up Prairie Ultimate together. They're competing with each other, of course, and they want to push each other to be better, but they're also trying to grow the game on the prairies. And AFC Beef mentioning they went to a training camp in Regina this summer to work on things with RUT and collaborate and also compete. So
I'm loving these jerseys.
The Beef jerseys, yeah.
It's fun to have a rebrand where you just can get a fresh start and get a reset or get a new look, depending on who's coming back to your team and who are the captains, who is the leadership. So always nice to have something fresh. And yeah, they're really looking good with the white and red.
Arthur Lau mentioning to us before the game that was a player-driven decision, that Beef wanted to rebrand formerly Whiskey Jacks, of course, for quite a long time. This year was the year they decided that they wanted to do something different and have a fresh rebrand in name and image. Great upwind pull, goal line to goal line. Gazda fields it. And Gazda shoots it, looking for Statham downfield. A great read from Statham. He's on the goal line, and a tough put, but bailing it out of the dirt is Armand Segal.
Oh, what a play by Armand Segal, coming down to the ground in order to do that. Oh, we got another celebration here. And they're street racing right now.
It's a clean hold for RUT downwind. Off the big shot from Matt Gazda. Cody Statham with a great read to bring it in, and then a cheeky little backhand that almost got away from him, but Armand able to keep it alive and score the point.
Absolutely, and that's good for RUT's confidence right now. You don't want to feel like this game's getting away from you, especially with that 6-3 lead. Getting that point, just saying, hey, we're still in this game, and let's go push for another one.
So the score now 6-4 for Beef. Half will be at 8 unless we reach a timed half, which will be taken after 40 minutes. Game started at 3:50, so 4:30 would be timed half if we should reach it. And it's 4:22 now, so it's possible, especially if RUT can manage this upwind break here. It may force half to be taken early, or rather taken at a lower point total. And for Beef, they'll be hoping that they can punch in this downwind hold and keep the half target at 8. Halter in the middle. Zony look from RUT. Looks like a standard 3-3-1 cup. And maybe I'm not. Maybe I can't see that far. I looked arrowhead there for a second too.
Definitely looked like RUT was trying to force one side of the field, perhaps where the wind was going, perhaps just wanting them to be trapped on one sideline.
Beef finds it back to the middle. Fish on the near side. Back to Lang. That's Hohalter. RUT still in their zone. Back to Lang. AFC just keeping their composure, looking for their spots. Keeping possession. That one down, though, just got away from Hohalter, and RUT with the
Big chance
upwind
for
break
right here.
chance in the attacking half. Matt Stevens with the disc. Rob Beam. Justice Paul around to Stevens. Back to Beam in the middle. And it's almost just a dominator look from these three right now. John McEwen out of the stack. Up the open side, it's going to hang left, and it's a great read.
Wow.
RUT, the upwind break to make it a one-score game once again.
Throw to the back of the end zone and getting onto that kind of 7-cut looking play there. This is a huge momentum shift for RUT, and ultimately it's a game of momentum. So when you get, sometimes all you need is just one break to change things up.
I think that was Will Pearson catching it in the end zone for RUT. And now again, as we've talked about, RUT with the wind at their backs, pulling for the chance to bring this game back on serve.
Looking like AFC Beef making a couple of changes on the line. Sometimes teams like to keep the exact same 7, or maybe keep maybe 4, given maybe 2 or 3 guys as a rest or a shift. Maybe just get a different look and some fresh legs. Sometimes when you're a defensive line, you want to keep the same line because those guys are fired up. Whatever you were doing was working, and they're feeling pretty good.
Looks like RUT elected to make some changes too here on this D line. I see a couple of their O-liners, so they feel this is a pivotal moment in the game. Like Lee Barber with the pull. IO backhand down towards the far end zone. And Ty Hohalter in the middle. RUT back in their arrowhead zone. Gavin Lee. Gavin Lee in trouble, but he does manage to get it to Mohagan. And AFC manages to move it back to the other side. Flowing through that RUT zone nicely once they manage to get that first swing off. Wolfenden across for Fish. Back to Wolfenden. Hohalter. Looks through the middle. That's Travis Kundert. Moves it forward. RUT melting back into a person defense. Kundert to Mohagan. Chandra back to Mohagan. Good quick movement from Beef here. No one's holding the disc for very long. Latondra with a look in the red zone. Nothing on the open side. Finds that inside break. Wolfenden to Lee. For the dump to Wolfenden. Back to Lee. This handler movement really working for AFC, but nowhere to go. Over the top. The upwind hammer and out of bounds. Beef thinking that they had scored, but reading the wrong line, it looks like. There's 2 blue lines here. One is the sideline for the field, of course, and the other being the personnel line. The players have to stay behind. RUT takes over on their own goal line. A forehand shot from Matt Gazda, and it's again Cody Statham with the read. Brings it down again, and again it's Statham to Armand Segal. Carbon copy of their last downwind point. It's another break for RUT.
Sideline exploding there as soon as Rut makes that huge grab and then pops it to the end zone. We got a piggyback ride all the way back to the bench. They're absolutely fired up right now.
Gazda, flick huck to Statham, catch through contact, shaky backhand into the end zone, and Seagal getting it done.
They're going to have to keep an eye on Gazda. He has been shooting flick bombs this entire game. So this is going to be super interesting right now for AFC Beef.
They'd asked me for a scouting report before the game. I could have told them that. Gazda trying to huck to me was a play that we ran a few times.
That's awesome.
I can't say it was as successful as what RUT's doing right now, but there's a reason that I'm not on this team anymore. So 6-6. Beef drawing up a play on the line. As you mentioned, kind of a new look O-line here for Beef after a couple of breaks for RUT.
Curious
Three
to
straight
see,
points.
yeah, curious to see what RUT comes up with. Are they going to like to stay with their zone and then fire to a match defense, or are they going to come up right away to a match? To be honest, zone look has been working, and then the red zone defense has been working to get back into this game. So good either or. I'm interested to see what their D strategy is going to look like.
Will Pearson holding the disc. And the upwind pull, backhand. Falls early, a little bit of a roll. And it does get past the brick. Hohalter in the middle for Beef.
Back to his own look here.
Yeah, you called it. Millen on the far side. Daya back to Millen. Kind of a blady flick over to Latondra. Back to Hohalter. Through the middle into Turner Spence. Back to Saya. And an early red zone look here for Beef. Hohalter to Millen. Easy on that far side. A clean hold for Beef to retake the lead.
AFC Beef recognizing that there were so many opportunities to throw to the middle of the field as soon as the disc got centered. And as soon as they got it to the middle guy, they took advantage of those holes that they saw in the zone.
You can see the flags on the far side behind the bleachers just sitting idle for a moment. That's inopportune timing for RUT on that point, with the wind not picking up and causing any issues for Beef's offense. Of course, it would have been at their back, but just that little bit of wind has caused some throws to sail for Beef, so making RUT's zone work even harder.
Would be interested in seeing how many teams this year have rebranded, because I know we spoke about AFC Beef, formerly Whiskey Jack's program. We had Ottawa Phoenix rebrand to Thunderbirds.
I was seeing the Thunderbirds jerseys, and I was wondering who that was. That makes sense.
So that makes two teams right now. I'm wondering how many other teams have rebranded this year. Maybe this is the year of their rebrand.
That's a great question, yeah. There's a few team names that I don't recognize in the open division this year, so it's possible that they are all just rebrands. Big pull for Beef, rolls to the near side. Shane Markham fields. Centers it to Dan O'Reilly. He finds Justice Paul in the middle. Paul's a shooter as well. Elects for the under to Riley Martell. Pump fake from Martell. Looking up line again, pump fake. The inside break, and it gets away from him. A friendly roll from a RUT perspective.
Huge pressure on the mark there.
Latondra with the disc for Beef. Inside shot up the line, off the hands. Justice Paul brings it down for RUT. Andrew Benson. Open side for Colby White, for Grayson Dacus in the end zone. We're tied at 7.
RUT, a great job for RUT right now. They, as soon as they got the turn back and the disc back, they just had their legs moving. Open side, open side, open side, all the way to the front cone, taking advantage of defenders out of position.
This game taking as long as expected. We've just in that point past the time for the halftime cap, which of course would mean that the score is taken into account. The higher score, you add 1 to that, and that's your new halftime target, but because the highest score is 7, the halftime stays at 8. Interested to see here what RUT chooses to do How do they try to stack this line? They know they're going upwind, they know they're pulling, but they also know that an upwind break here would be pivotal to take half.
I always love to see the end of a half strategy, especially the first half for teams. You know, what are you going to come out defensively? What kind of personnel are you going to throw on the line? I feel like finishing a half in Ultimate, and again, this being a game of momentum, is a big tactical strategy from a coaching perspective.
And so many different tactics that coaches try to do. You have so many things to consider. You have who's tired, who's played lots already this game. It's a long tournament. You've got 3 days of Ultimate that you have to be prepared for, so you don't want to burn guys out. This pull, a little cheese grater on the concrete out on the other side of the fence.
And the RUT sideline yelling at that disc to come back in.
It didn't work, unfortunately for them. Possibly fortunately for Beef, it looks like they're going to get some pretty good field position here. RUT telling Tyler Hohalter that they're setting up in a man defense, but clearly that's some failed deception. No options here for Kundert. I think he was calling a double team. Dallin Mohagan, back to Kundert, back to Mohagan. And he finds that hole through. Hohalter on the wing. RUT melting into their match defense. There's an injury. There's a little bit of contact. Cody Statham defending on the reset, and that's Travis Kundert down on the ground. Not sure if he got stepped on.
I think I heard Travis potentially call a foul, but now I think calling an injury after, you know, feeling a little bit of the pain there.
Sometimes unfortunate contact when you're trying to make that upline cut as a reset handler, and the defender is entitled to try to get in your way and take that space away. But when two fast guys come at each other into the same space, sometimes that contact happens, and looks like Kundert got the worst of that one.
Absolutely.
Armand Segal on the mark. The break goes off to Mohagan. The top to Lee. Back to Mohagan. Trying to be patient. He finds a good look. That's Alex Fish. Mohagan to Hohalter. Up the line. It looks like it's tipped. And nonetheless, out of the reach.
Another red zone stand for RUT.
Really locking down defensively in their own red zone.
Maybe this is part of their plan. You know, that we're going to run a zone so that we take away the hucks all the way to half. And then when we get to a red zone, we're going to clamp down.
Beef bracketing against RUT's horizontal stack, and that upwind throw just bit the wind and didn't want to go where the thrower intended. It'll be Beef disc on the sideline. I'm not sure where it went out. There was conversation about whether it went out at the point of release or whether it went out further up the field, and it'll be taken at half. RUT choosing to stay in match defense here. Again, some contact. Lang takes that, surveys the field. Lee in the middle to Mohagan. Open side to Hohalter. Patient, looks for the break. Lang through the middle. Are the feet in? The feet are in. That's Justin Saya with the score for Beef. And they take half, 8-7. Close game, back and forth. Game of runs, as you mentioned early. Beef did have a 6-3 lead, and RUT went on that run to come back. And we're 1 point, as close as we could be at halftime.
Absolutely. Way to close it out. You know, again, you always want to go to halftime having one halftime. You know, you could say to yourself that, hey, we earned this. We're going to get a drink of water, recompose ourselves, and get back to the second half.
Speaking of a drink of water, with halftime, the observers will get a chance to take a break. The teams will talk strategy. We'll step aside for some messages from our partners, and we'll be back with some halftime interviews in just a moment. Live here, halftime interview with AFC Beef's, oh my God, Alex Fish.
Yes.
Yes, Alex Fish. How do you feel that first half has gone for your team?
Feeling good. There were some ups and downs. There was some points where it felt like we'd gotten on a roll, and then RUT very quickly fought back, and that's kind of what we were expecting from this game. RUT, they always grind really hard, so we gotta grind just as hard to come back from that. And yeah, we're just gonna continue to work hard in the second half and trying to get some breaks out of it.
Now, of course, RUT, a team that you know very well, being from the prairies. I heard that you guys did a training camp with them in Regina earlier this summer.
Yeah, we did. They were gracious enough to have us out there, and great reps all around for both teams. They're always a joy to play against. Super spirited, super great guys overall, and it's awesome to see that both of our programs are continuing to grow together. So yeah, very appreciative of them for having us. Yeah, they're a great team.
And so with the Beef rebrand this year, I noticed the new jerseys. Habib and I have been talking about it on the stream. You mentioned that you designed the logo.
Yeah, so not fully, but it was it was my idea to have the cow with the chef's hat.
Okay.
We had a guy named Ian, I can't remember his last name. He did most of the designing with the jerseys and everything as well, plus the logos. But yeah, this has been a pretty big year for the team with the rebranding and everything. We wanted to have fun with it, and we're glad that people are liking the jerseys.
Yeah, and the bucket hat too. Everything looks good. You
Yeah,
got
I
the,
want to
is
see
that
more
the-
bucket hats out there, though. It's just me right
Are we
now.
missing some? Yeah, okay.
Hopefully more guys start catching
Well, I
on.
guess they don't want to get them sweaty, right?
Yeah.
But you got the BU on the sleeve too. Yeah,
we
these
do
are
Beef Ultimate.
clean new jerseys, a new era for AFC Beef.
Yeah, clean for now. Maybe they'll be a little green by the end of the day.
Yeah, you would probably hope, hey?
Yeah,
Alex, thanks for this.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Cheers. I'm joined now for another halftime interview with RUT's captain, Armand Segal. Armand, how do you feel like that first half went for your team?
You know what? I feel like it's kind of how we wanted it to go. We knew it was going to be a battle. They kind of got a couple on us, but we fought back, and we're even now. So going into the second half with confidence.
Yeah, Habib and I talked in that first half about how Ultimate's a game of runs. Beef went on a little run of their own. They went up 6-3, and then you pushed right back and tied at 6-6. Part of that was a couple of points to you, one that you had to dig out of the dirt, and another one on a couple of shaky backhands from Cody to you in the end zone off of a Matt Gazda huck.
Yeah.
You're just in the right place in the right time. Was that a play that you drew up?
A little bit. I mean, like you said, it's a game of runs, so kind of just seeing what they're giving us and taking advantage of everything we can out there.
Have you given Cody some hard time about those throws to you, or
No,
you're just happy that they were there for you to catch?
And I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Good stuff. And what's the goal for RUT this year at CUC?
We want to show them that a team from Saskatchewan can come out here, compete at the highest level, and we just want to go out there and put a hard effort into every game.
And you mentioned that it's a real Saskatchewan effort this year, right? I know it's Regina Ultimate Team,
Yeah,
but
we might have to change the name. Who knows? But we combined with the Saskatoon guys, so we're just excited to represent Saskatchewan as a program.
awesome. Armand, good luck in the second half. Thanks for this.
Yeah, thanks.
And we're back for more second half action between AFC Beef and RUT from Saskatchewan, an all-prairie matchup here on day one of the senior tournament at the Canadian Ultimate Championships 2026 edition. Here at the Newton Athletic Park in Surrey, British Columbia, on the unceded traditional territories of the Kakite, Semiahmoo, Tsawwassen, Katsi, Coquitlam, and Kwantlen peoples. We're very grateful to be able to be here on this land and participate in the game we love. Of course, I say participate. Habib, you and I here coaching this week. All these teams out here playing. You and I get to be on the stream together. There's always some way to be involved in this great sport.
Absolutely wonderful community, and we got a great game ahead of us right now. Second half action, and it is 8-7, and so if you're RUT, you're on serve right now, and anything is happening right now.
Beef with the upwind pull to start the second half. The RUT O-line on the field. Shane Markham with a flick huck, and it hits the turf. Andrew Benson, the intended receiver, in the end zone. Wind just took it a little bit. It was a tough look for Markham, but a look that I probably would have advised him to take. Just didn't quite work out how he wanted, and now RUT's going to have to try to get the disc back to avoid going down by 2. Inside look up line. Turner Spence with the disc for Beef. Looking for Wolfenden back in the middle, not there. And Spence shoots it, high stall count. Keith Latondra is there, and he hauls it in with the left hand. It was like a hockey goaltender glove catch. Patient looks into the end zone, and it is that upwind break to start the half for Beef.
What a grab from Keith Latondra. He just stuck his hand out as the disc was dying down over top the other RUT player and the AFC players, and way to throw that assist for the goal.
I'm not sure what Turner Spence just said, but he's calling me out for something.
Oh, definitely. He's looking right at you.
I think he's making sure I saw his stall 8 huck to Latondra, but really it's Latondra that did all the work on that one.
And if you're a RUT who was playing defense on that, you're thinking, you know what? That was good defense to shoot up, force a stall 8 huck, but then, hey, better offense with the hockey catch from Keith Latondra.
It was like vintage Patrick Waugh glove hand. So Beef to pull, ahead by 2. RUT looking to close the gap once again. We'll see what Beef does here on defense. Downwind, I wouldn't be surprised to see them throw a zone look at RUT here again. Make them have a tough time working the disc up the field.
We're seeing Rowan Lang with the pull here. I guess pretty much the mainstay puller on the line here. Rowan Lang also been happy to be in the same coaching program as his dad, Ken Lang, who's a Hall of Famer and super fun to speak to. Great observer that has been around for 30 plus years in this community.
We do see a zony look from Beef. RUT moving the disc well against it, though. Justice Paul with the disc. Hammer over the top, looking for Riley Martell in the middle. He hauls it in. Shane Markham through the middle. Markham, patient, looks for the backhand. Grayson Dacus, he's lost his hat, so I almost didn't recognize him. These numbers aren't the easiest to read on the back of the RUT jerseys, the black on green. Riley Martell knocking on the door. And it's behind Grayson Dacus. Just a miscommunication on the cut. Unfortunate error for RUT. They go back on D.
Looked like he thought he was coming back perhaps for a 7 cut and going to give it to him on the inside. And now on defense.
Looks like Markham got a touch on that throw, but it still finds its way through. Brennan Weaver in the middle. Up the open side. Carter Price. High off the hands, but hauled in by Hayden Davis. Latondra. Through the middle, a big open under. Weaver with the disc once again, looks break side, and a single-handed catch from Carter Price. He'll want that one back. Andrew Benson for RUT. You can see that one sail on him just a little bit, but it ends up working out. Gets to Dacus on the near side. Dacus from SFU here in the Lower Mainland. Up line to Justice Paul, who airs it out. And a great read from Dan O'Reilly. The RUT answers with an upwind score of their own to make it a 1-point game. Once again, they just will not go away.
Great snap on that huck, and really hard disc to read when you see a defender going up. But I almost feel like the offensive player knew, if you're going to go right by this disc, and I'm going to wait for you to jump, and then I'm going to go and wait for to make the nice grab.
It was 9-8 for Beef. See who RUT puts on the field here for their downwind D-line. John McEwen with the disc. Looks like he'll be the puller. Spirit captain Rob Beam out there. Greg Smith on the line giving some tips. Guapo's been around the game for a very long time.
Also want to highlight just the overall spirit in this game, sportsmanship from these two teams. Much respect, right? And so this game is flowing really well in terms of spirit of the game, and we love to see that as a standard.
You heard it mentioned in the halftime interview with Alex Fish that he talked about how much these two teams enjoy playing against each other, but they push each other. They play tough, they play physical, they grind, they work hard, and they earn each other's respect, but they never cross that line of trying to do too much. They're not trying to hurt each other. They all still want to be able to go to work the next day, right? Yeah. They just are out here to work hard. Samuel Klein on the far side for Beef. Klein looking up the open side. Contested, but caught by Fish. O'Halter in the middle. Gavin Lee. Tasman Millen. Looks for the over the top, not there, and now up the line to Lee. And it's another score for Beef. They extend their lead to 2 once again. And in the second half, all 3 points have been scored upwind.
Great offense there. I mean, they held on to the disc on the sideline, and then after that, it's just being able to beat their matchup up line all the way through that far sideline.
A good clean hold for Beef. RUT didn't make it easy for them. They had a couple contested chances on that far sideline, but Beef patient enough to find the spots where they needed.
What's great about this RUT team is that, if they're going to turn it over, they've shown that they are going to get the disc back. They're going to play some great offensive line defense to make it so that AFC doesn't get their break so easily, and they're going to punch back. So shout out to them for staying locked in as an O-line and saying, hey, if we're going to turn it over, we are on when it comes to getting the disc back.
Both these teams mentioning that they want to put Prairie Ultimate on the map, and doing so earlier today in their games against General Strike and Surf, 2 very strong teams. Surf with an exceptionally strong roster this year with some Vancouver pickups, former Furious captain Jay Boychuk. They've got Shiggy up from the States. They've got some very solid players on Surf this year, and RUT putting up 9 on them earlier in the day. I think Beef had a similar result. I believe it was 15-8 against General Strike. So both of these teams really making their mark, not letting anything easy. Dacus and White dribbling, and Dacus lets that one get away from him. It is a hospital pass for anyone, and the tallest man brings it down, Riley Martel.
Oh, timed perfectly. Big man goes up to make the grab when we're atop everybody. I love the dribbling, and then you know what? When you dribble just one, maybe perhaps a step too much to get that wind caught underneath the disc and flying over, the sideline reacting accordingly. But way to be number 4. You were right there for your teammates. There we go.
You see Dak has put his hands to his head as that throw goes up, and then jump with joy when Martel jumps over. There must have been 5 people in there tracking the disc, and Martel, like you said, timed it perfectly and has the height. So
What a way to tell your team, I got your back.
for Martel, that's a few points this game. So once again, a 1-point game. Once again, an upwind score in the second half. Lee Barber with the disc to pull for RUT.
For a lot of the younger players or the newer players on a team, these are the games you want. You want to be in those learning games that are very close, like a 1-point, 2-point game. This is where you just benefit as a player and in your player development.
And you learn so much from being challenged, right? And my Dusk women's team yesterday had an unfortunate universe loss in the 9th place game against Origine. Really great game. We were up a few, and they managed to bring it back and tie it to force Universe and break on Universe to win. And I told my girls that sometimes a Universe loss stings, but you learn the most from it. Beef with a turnover, just a missed throw. RUT takes over in the offensive half. And Gazda's Blady flick down the line, not finding Josh Anderson. Another opportunity here for Beef. Taz Millen to Samuel Klein, back to Millen. Millen and Mohagan, give and go. Patient look. Mohagan on the near sideline. Reaching behind him, trying to get the catch is Gavin Lee, and couldn't haul it in. Almost a crazy acrobatic play.
Yeah, look at that throw was behind, and so allowed the defender to just get a hand in there and create a difficult situation.
Gazda, first handler to the disc again for RUT. Now it's with Cody Statham. Lee Barber. Gazda striking from the handler position. Barber wisely choosing not to send him. Jeff Gu on the break to the middle, and Gazda couldn't get there. And it looks like there's an injury call. And that's Gavin Lee, who made that acrobatic catch attempt a moment ago. Not sure if he took a bump or twist. And once again, we see Ifatandra subbing in for an injury sub.
I also like that RUT is electing to sub in a player, get some fresh legs in there. You know, you have that opportunity in the rule book. So this is a great opportunity to get fresh legs on defense, especially number 27. Justice Paul.
And I mean, it's only fair, right? If you have a fresh player coming in for one team, the opponent should be able to match. Armand Segal on the mark. Tasman Millen with the disc now in the middle. Alex Fish for Beef. Samuel Klein looking up line. Not there. Forehand inside, and Justice Paul just elevates. No mark, so Justice is going to take his sweet time. You see Segal up the line, but he instead elects to shoot for Jeff Gu, and it's just too far. RUT proving that they are willing to take these downwind looks and play defense on the opposing goal line instead of their own. Obviously, they've had some good goal line stands on their own as well, but you never want to turn the disc over in your own half, and they're content to punt it and take those huck looks and make Beef work it back up the field here, which they're doing quite effectively. Klein into the end zone, and it's caught by Millen. And contact from Anderson. Those two hug it out.
AFC Beef really taking advantage of, I see an open cutter and I'm throwing to open cutter. You know, they did not even hesitate to hit the open man downfield, and were able to just get 50 plus yards in the span of 10 seconds in that situation.
And that quick transition, like we talked about, yes, the missed hawk ended up in the end zone and it had to go be collected, but as soon as they got the disc moving, they kept it moving. They're not sitting waiting for someone to move. They've already got someone in motion. Really great cut timing off of each other. Good chemistry.
You know, if you're a RUT, that was a D point. So you made that offensive line of ASC having to work a lot. But if you're RUT in this situation, you want to get a clean hole, but you want to make sure that you stay within this game. You don't want this lead to increase for AFC. You want to still be able to have that close game opportunity.
Looks like Rowan Lang ready to pull for beef. RUT with a slightly different look O-line on this point. Gazda, their shooter, taking a breather. Shane Markham, Grayson Dacus, Colby White, likely handlers. Dan O'Reilly fielding the pull. Markham back to O'Reilly. Justice Paul first there. The bid from Turner Spence falls short. Paul around to White. O'Reilly back to White in the middle. Riley Martell all alone. Takes his time, patient as he waits for the mark to get there and finds O'Reilly up line. O'Reilly for Benson on a pass that popped up and came back down to him. Benson patient, inside look. Colby White in the end zone for a clean score for RUT.
That was a beautiful inside backhand. He waited for the upline cutter to go through and pulled the defense out of the way, and then Andrew Benson hitting the assist right to the middle. Well timed.
Back to a 1-point game. Now, with these two teams having played earlier, both 0-2 on the day, this game has huge implications because, of course, the winner of this game ends up in a crossover to try to stay in that top bracket. And the loser of this game knows that the highest they can place is 9th. And neither of these teams wanting to give up that right to play that crossover game.
Absolutely. You know, if you're a competitor, and this is why we're here at CUC, you always want to play up. You know, you want to be able to challenge your program, your players, and set new expectations. This is a huge opportunity for both teams. Speaking of rebrands, I believe there's also not necessarily a rebrand, but a team out of Montreal named UAUC. I also think that they're either a split team from a former team or just another rebranded team out of the Montreal region. So again, just going on that, I think this is truly the year of the rebrand.
I saw that name on the tournament list and I was wondering who that was. One of 3 Quebec Open teams here this year. Big pull from RUT, sails well out of bounds. The brick for Tyler Hohalter. Beef looking to work upwind again. Hohalter says, let's just shoot it. It's over the head and a great read by Samuel Klein. It's such a tough read looking over your shoulder. You've got a player on your back, and for Hohalter, he just put enough air on it that Klein could run it down.
That was quite the interesting stack look. It was like a T offense where you had an isolated cutter in the middle, and when that isolated cutter finished cutting, Ty looking deep because they're seeing that the defense was looking at the disc or looking away from their mark, and so they just shot deep to somebody wide open. So an interesting T offense from AFC Beef.
And it results in a 1-throw score.
Absolutely. O-line did not have to run a lot on that point, and that's a huge win for the O-line.
And we mentioned yesterday's results in the Junior Open division with your Ignite taking home the national title over Dino. Of course, on the women's side, Dino victorious, winning gold over Toro in the women's final. And what was a great game. Dino was up and Toro didn't go away easy, really made a run at the end. And it was a 15-11 final.
I was speaking to the coaches at for both sides at the end of that game, and they're explaining how they wanted to come back to their winning ways. I would say based on the seedings that they had last year. I know Dino maybe weren't in the spot that they wanted to be in last year. I think they got out of the top 4, so for them to come back and win the championship is huge.
Another upwind shot, another sky for Riley Martell. That was Andrew Benson airing out the hawk. Martell, patient, looks for Justice Paul, and it's another score for RUT.
These offensive points are just being so quick right now.
We've had some long ones. We've had some grindy D points from both teams, but a couple of quick upwind holds just to keep things interesting.
And RUT is showing that they are able to win these sky battles. You know, if the disc is in the air and it's a one-on-one coverage, they are coming down with it.
That horn you may have heard would be the soft cap, which means that we've reached 75 minutes of our 90-minute time window. So because the horn went after the point was caught, this next point is played, and then the soft cap is implemented.
Absolutely. And I love, from a coaching perspective, you want to at least have one timeout during soft cap. You know, you never want to be in a situation where you can't use any timeouts. So always having one in your pocket for soft cap, whether it's player-led or coach-led, I think is super critical in a tight game.
So a 12-11 game now. If RUT scored a tie, it'll be a universe point game to 13. If Beef score, it'll be a 2-point lead and a game to 14. RUT pulls downwind, comes down in their zone. Hohalter airs it out, and it's too far over the head of Fish. A huge opportunity here for RUT.
Huge chance for RUT right off of the bat with that arrowhead look zone. Wind picking up that pass, and let's see what RUT comes out here.
Gazda with the disc on the far sideline. In the red zone already. Middle to Wawa. Tipped off the throw and caught again. Armand Segal, at least 3 points.
That's a huge, huge break for RUT.
And that makes this a game to 13 universe point. 12-12. RUT pulling. And you know that both teams are throwing O-line and D-line out the window now and just trying to put their best 7 on the field.
100%. I want to highlight, too, that offense from RUT. They were on the sideline. They didn't even look at their reset. They're actually looking at the front of their stack here. The one goes front cone, and then they end up hitting the second guy that was trailing behind. So just something different from an end zone perspective. And we are spoiled with a bunch of these universe points on stream here.
Back-to-back universe games on the stream to close out day 1 here at the 2026 Canadian Ultimate Championships.
Hey, when both these said they want to put up a show, they weren't kidding. This is exactly what we came to see.
And Arthur Lau mentioned to us pregame when we were talking to Beef's leadership that, yes, they've played a few times this season, and every game has been close. So we should not be surprised whatsoever that this one's going to go down to the wire. Rolly upwind pull from RUT. Gets a friendly roll. Good stop by Beef. RUT in their zone. Mohagan in the middle to Fish. A tough catch, but brings it in. Mohagan looking to air it out. Decides against it. Great defense from RUT, locking everything down. Fish in the middle. Latondra decides not to shoot it. Around the far side for Mohagan. Gazda on the mark. Break sides. Latondra in the middle. RUT looking like they've got a middle force, and that throw to the middle, macked and caught by Latondra.
Oh my goodness.
Statham is going to be upset with himself about not catching that. Beef does lose significant field position, but they still have possession. And Taz Millen looks to shoot, but it's out of bounds and does not curl back. What a sequence.
What a defensive point for RUT. They were so hungry for that disc, and now they got a chance to seal the deal here.
We're hearing RUT players ask for a timeout. We'll see if Gazda does call it when he gets to the sideline, or if this is a fake out from RUT. And he does. Looks like he called it before Hohalter could get a stall count in. So it'll come in on stall 1. Hohalter was ready for the fake out. You could tell these two know each other.
Again, great timeout because, you know, if you're fired up and your nerves are too high, you know, in order to risk having a mistake coming into on a defensive break chance, you might as well call timeout, set something up. Now that you have control of the game, you have the tempo. So this is a great call from RUT.
And neither team has used a timeout in the second half. So RUT had 2 to burn. They still have 1 if they need it later in this point. Of course, Beef as well. RUT with an opportunity, upwind, just shy of midfield.
I'm interested to see their pull play. If you're RUT, you know, I know we were speaking about the end zone that I saw, that they had the 2 isolated cutters in the middle initiate the play. Maybe they would elect to go through a more handler driven offense. And if you're AFC Beef, are you zoning? Are you trapping on the sideline? Or are you just going match?
Knowing RUT, I would not at all be shocked to see them look to surprise Beef here with the Huck. Whether or not the wind agrees with Gazda on that throw decision will be what we'll have to wait and see. RUT with a very compact stack on an angle in the middle of the field. And Beef electing just to cover the open side on every player, no bracket. And they look up line. Josh Anderson receives that pass from Gazda. Gazda cuts up line. Anderson looking around to the middle. It's over the head of Barber, and it falls incomplete. Beef looking to transition quickly. Mohagan out wide. Chad Wheeler. Latondra. Back to Hohalter. Latondra. Open side, and there it is. Chad Wheeler catches it in the end zone. Universe point, a 13-12 victory for Beef. RUT dejected, understandably, with chances on that point, but you can't take anything away from them. This was a fantastic game.
Oh, it was exceptional. I mean, you know, based on that first half, them coming back into this game, getting back into their momentum, making it super interesting down the stretch, and it's always fun watching a Universe game.
So Beef takes it 13-12. You have a favorite moment from the game? Anything in particular that you noticed?
I think for me it was the red zone stands from RUT, and many opportunities that AFC Beef had to close down the end zone, but RUT protected their house. They shut the door down multiple times. So definitely not one particular moment, but definitely I would say at least 2 or 3 red zone defensive moments from RUT, and a way to stay in that game.
And as both teams said, really showcasing Prairie Ultimate, gritty, willing to grind, willing to put their body on the line, and dug deep right through the end of a Universe point game. The teams will shake hands, and we will sign off for the day. For Habib Atella, I'm Shane Pfeiffer. Thank you for watching Day 1 coverage of the 2026 Canadian Ultimate Championships here at Newton Athletic Park in sunny Surrey, BC. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning.
Thanks, everyone.